Welcome to another edition of the live Pittsburgh Sportsline TV show in the BP TV studios. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. I got Chip Hayner with me and Smoking Jim Frazier. Thanks for watching us tonight. I'm not sure if we're having technical difficulties with the camera. There we go.
Hey.
There we.
Welcome, world.
Which way? Okay. All right. Shout out to Skip Atkins. Always watches our show. Had a little difficulty there. We're back in business. So welcome to the show. Got a lot of great sports to talk to you about tonight. Thanks for all of you watching us on Comcast 7, only in Bethel Park. Thanks for watching us in Bethel Park on Verizon 32 also, seen all the way out to Nemacolin and all points in between up to Cranberry and Wexford. We appreciate that. On Facebook, hit a brand new high, 6,639 likes. Thank you very much. We appreciate you watching our shows and liking our page. Can't get enough of that. And I want to thank our pizza sponsor, Olive Oil's Pizzeria, 412-831-1900. You might hear chomping in the background. Just ignore that. Smoking Jim's trying to chew quietly. I can hear him. We always end each show with Stay Joey Strong. The Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation is a 501c3. You can write off any deductions and money that you send there to help them find the cause of the brain cancer, DIPG, that killed poor Joey, 9 years old. Check out the Bethel Park Historical Society's Schoolhouse Arts and History Center. Bill Habether, who's in charge of that, won a Citizen of the Year award in Bethel Park. I saw that. He was on a radio show on WESA. A lot of great things are happening at the Schoolhouse Arts and History Center. Again, that's a 501c3. Any deductions or any money that you donate can be deducted, so check that out. All right, let's see what else I got here. Bethel Park Community Foundation. Whoa, that paper's flying. If your group needs money from $100 to $5,000 is available for you. Check it out. Go to bpcf.org, get an application and apply for that. Help your group in Bethel Park. Uncle Al, the talking machine, wants you for BPTV, 412-831-3304. Dave Cable put my face there on Uncle Sam. I want you for BPTV. You could be here like Devin Shea is in the control room. He's running cameras. He's running the sound. He's got everything going on right there, and we appreciate what you're doing there, Devin Shea. All right, this show is sponsored by Olive Oil's Pizzeria. I told you that. We appreciate that. Pizza was delicious, and the hoagie. Oh, Smoking Jim, I think you bit a finger this week too. He's enjoying that hoagie pretty nicely there. I see that. Wait till he goes into that pizza there. Wow. First part of the show, we have a question. What's on your mind? That's sponsored by Skeets Lewandowski of Skeets Service Station. Anything that runs on gas, Skeets can take care of it. Give them a call. 724-348-4715. I was just there today. He has a garbage bin, and I had an old TV, and you know how hard it is to get rid of TVs nowadays. Skeets said, bring it on by. So my son Drew and I went out there and brought it on by. Thanks again, Skeets. Not only does he handle cars, but he handles broken TVs. So we appreciate that.
He'll have it back on the road again in no time, right?
Yes. Yes. But the TV's history. The car's on the road. No, it's gone. The TV's gone, and that happens in life. What can you do? All right, let's start this show with what's on your mind. Smoking Jim Frazier.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
It's coming.
you got to see Levine.
Nice
Back
catch.
in my old high school quarterback day, option quarterback
Yeah,
day.
When were you the option quarterback?
That was
We
it
need
when-
somebody
when
to
he was
check.
a
What year
starting-
was that?
When he was on the starting pitcher on the baseball team.
Yeah, he didn't even know baseball. He didn't learn about baseball until he started on Pittsburgh Sportsline, even though his best friend's Claudio Rosano, head coach of the CMU baseball team.
Oh, black people don't play baseball, but I guess
Hold it. We've been talking about the Negro Baseball League the last 3 weeks. Where have you been?
That's a little before
It's still
my
February,
time.
everybody.
Come
But
on. All
Am
right.
I the only person that hadn't seen the movie Black Panther? Have you guys seen that?
No.
yet?
What is it?
Okay, I guess it makes
And-
three of us.
And will I see it anytime soon? That would be a firm no. Okay.
But in the honor of Black History Month, I guess we still got a day or so.
Yes, we
in
do.
February left. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers should consider drafting my number one rated middle linebacker.
Who?
And he plays at South Carolina State, Darius Leonard. He probably, I'm sure the Steelers probably won't go after him in the first round, but maybe in the second or third round. Very athletic.
Why are we going for a quarterback in the
Outstanding.
first round?
I'm not sure what they're going to go for, but what's on my mind is something I think they should do. You know, between 1969 and 1971, the legendary Chuck Noll refused to take other people's garbage. And then, if any player left the Pittsburgh Steelers between 1992 and the year 2000, they could never come back because General Manager Tom Donahoe used to say, "We're not the Salvation Army."
Wow.
However, in the year 2000, when the great Bill Cowher took over as the Pittsburgh Steelers general manager, along with his coffee boy, Kevin Colbert, they opened up things in terms of taking players, veteran players, who had maybe a little broken wing and turning their career around with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I have a few names as an example. How about Jerome Bettis?
There you go. Hall
When
of Fame.
Jerome Bettis played for the Rams that last year with the Rams, it looked like his career was over. Pittsburgh Steelers got him in a trade. The rest is history. How about Kevin Green?
Whoa.
Maybe the greatest linebacker of all time. Same deal with the Rams. They changed their defensive philosophy. He was ineffective. People thought, white boy can't play, can't run. He proved them wrong. Went on to have 30 more sacks than any other linebacker in NFL history, 161, 32 more sacks than the great Lawrence Taylor had in his career. How about James Harrison? Bounced around the league, was recently cut by the Baltimore Ravens, played in NFL Europe. Pittsburgh Steelers brought him in, that did okay. How about Chemo? Pretty good player with the Cincinnati Bengals. The Pittsburgh Steelers got him for cheap. Ended up playing very well. How about Ray Seals, a former semi-pro
There you go.
football player, played well here.
60-minute man.
60-minute man.
You're
Good
digging deep.
A marketing genius. How about Donald Evans, another good player that bounced around the league? And last but not least, how about Joe Hayden from the Cleveland Browns? And we paid a pretty good penny to get him. You know, but there's guys out there available now like Lawrence Timmons. Be great to bring the bring him back to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And but why should the Pittsburgh Steelers blow it on another unproven rookie draft when they can take a page from Bill Cowher's playbook and sign 2 or 3 broken wing veterans? And that's what's on my mind, broken wing veterans. Bring them in.
Thanks, Smokey Jim. You got any chicken wings over there? Give me a little taste. Pull a chicken wing out for me, because that's all I hear. Forget that nonsense. The draft is the way to go. Come on. Go Steelers. Chip Hayner, what's on your mind?
What's on my mind? Well, quite a number of things are on my mind this week, but what's stuck in my head today was an announcement that came down from the Major League Baseball's Player Association. The Major League Baseball Players Association has filed...
P.S. No surprise.
No surprise. Have filed a lawsuit against 4 Major League Baseball teams, even though the questions about whether or not the teams were reinvesting their profit-sharing money back into the operations of the team were investigated by Major League Baseball and found to be there was no basis in fact for the charges. So what the Major League Baseball Players Union is, I guess, they're not allowing the facts to deter them from filing their frivolous lawsuit.
Talk to a guy next to you that never lets a fact get in the way of a good argument.
So here's what my point is, and I think the Major League Baseball's Player Union is doing its players a big disservice here, because a lot of their hard-earned union dues are going to be wasted on a lawsuit that they're not going to win. They filed a suit against the Miami Marlins, the Tampa Bay Rays, the Oakland Athletics, and of course our beloved Pittsburgh Pirates. Oh. And what they are saying is that these teams did not reinvest their profit-sharing money that's supposed to be reinvested back into the team after it's already been investigated that they have. Now, here's what my point is with this whole thing. And I think that, especially in Major League Baseball, it has come to the forefront more so than in any other year. But I think the days of overpaying for high-priced free agents based on their past performance, I think those days in baseball are over. And I think a lot of owners have found out that teams got themselves in a lot of trouble financially by being burdened with these $100, $200, $350 million contracts, and it's affected their ability to be able to perform on a level playing field, even though we know that Major League Baseball is not a level playing field, okay? And until Major League Baseball has a true salary cap and they institute that, it's never going to be an equal playing field. So here's what my point is, and how the Major League Baseball Players Union is doing a disservice to their union members. This lawsuit was brought on because of a couple of high-profile agents felt that their players were not getting high enough contract offers this year as free agents, even though some of them were getting 8, 9-figure contracts offered to them. So maybe, just maybe, the Major League Baseball teams are not doing anything wrong. Maybe, just maybe, the agents are overvaluing their players in the market that they exist in this year. Every year, the market is different, and you know what the market will bear is what the market will bear. And somebody's got to set the limit on that. And unfortunately, the market did not go as high as the agents would want it to, not because they're looking out for the best interest of the players. Absolutely not. They're looking out for their best interest, because how big of a percentage of these $250, $350 million contracts do they get? So I think what's happening here is that players are pawns in a game being played by greedy sports agents. So I think this is going to amount to nothing, but what it certainly will do is give plenty of fuel for the haters that do nothing but whine and cry and moan about the Pittsburgh Pirates and the way they do business. And I don't think it's going to change anything, and at the end of the day, the lawsuit's going to be dismissed as frivolous. But that's what's on my mind.
Thanks, Chip.
Well, it sure looks like the Pirates are guilty, don't it?
Not at all. Not at all. See, Jim, here's what so many people fail to understand. People think that the only expense that you have in operating a baseball team is paying players' salaries. Well, newsflash, that's not the case.
But that money was supposed to be reinvested in the players' salaries.
No, it's reinvested in the operations of the baseball team, and that includes their minor league system, their scouting system, the players that they pay on the major league level. There's a lot of different levels. It's coaching staff.
Newspapers.
Well, the newspapers are dying, buddy. I left the newspaper.
Yeah.
Come on.
Don't the owners from Paris on the news?
He may. He also owns Seven Springs.
Not in Pittsburgh.
That's where the money's going.
No. Either way, either way,
In West Virginia.
I think it's a frivolous lawsuit.
West
I think it's going to accomplish nothing. So
West Virginia.
that's my opinion.
Smoking Jim Frazier. Wow. What's on my mind is the NFL. Jerry Jones and Goodell. What are you going to do? These guys used to get along, don't get along. Now they want reimbursed for $2 million in expenses from Jerry Jones, from what I heard. That there's some rule that they have that if you cause litigation or something that you're responsible. It doesn't say if you win the litigation or you lose the litigation, but you're responsible for the cost of litigation. So what kind of rule do they got? 31 other owners, I guess, want that money. I don't understand it.
Well, I can help shed some light on this.
I need some light. I'm
Okay,
confused.
here's what Jerry did. Jerry was upset with Roger Goodell for suspending his star player for 6 games for domestic violence, which the players gave Roger the power to do so. That's in the collective bargaining.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's what happened. Jerry tried to force his point of view on a number of different owners, and what he tried to do was he tried to derail the contract negotiations of Roger Goodell. Now there's there were 6 owners that were part of the committee that was negotiating Roger Goodell's contract. One of those, the Steelers, the Giants, the Patriots, were just 3 of them. Okay, I'd have to look up the other 3, but they were in the process of doing that. Well, Jerry Jones hired a high-priced attorney to try to stop that process from happening because he wasn't getting his way. Subsequently, it cost the NFL money in legal fees to stop whatever he was doing from happening. So now what they want is they are fining Jerry Jones to reimburse them the money that they had to spend
to defend themselves.
To spend themselves against something that he really had no business doing.
So in other words, Jerry Jones spent money on attorneys to stop the NFL. So he paid that. Now he has to pay for
the NFL's legal fees.
The legal fees.
And here's the best part of it. Jerry's going to appeal this to Roger Goodell.
Really?
Yeah, that's who hears the appeal.
This is unbelievable.
It's,
these stories just continue, folks. I had to bring it up because that's on my mind when I see it. I don't know who to root for, Jerry Jones or Roger Goodell. I don't like either one.
I'm going to always root against Jerry Jones, just the way I am.
Okay, understood. Just like I root against Dallas all the time.
That's it.
Root for President Trump. He'll step in and clear it up.
What? He's one of the ones instigating this stuff. They wouldn't let him in that club.
No comment.
30 years ago.
Well, they should have let him in.
They wouldn't let him in the club because of his behavior.
He had the money.
No, he borrowed it. It was borrowed back then.
And what, bankrupt his team like he did the Generals?
And all the rest of those casinos.
He bankrupted the whole league, not only his team.
This is a non-political show, and sometimes Smoking Jim gets off the reservation, and you got to hear it there. Let the facts never get in the way of any argument from Smoking Jim Frazier. We'll be back with Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Truths.
Is that what he said? I missed that. Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine, and Chip Haley. Did it really say that?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, it did. I was shocked. He changed that video. Put that video up again.
But what's on my mind is my main man, J.R. House, former Pittsburgh Pirate. And I remember watching.
Wasn't he a quarterback?
Yeah, I remember watching J.R. House play in high school. Matter of fact, we tried to recruit his little cousin to Gateway, but he had been busted for having sex with his teacher. The only problem is he is being homeschooled. But when I went to see J.R. House play football, J.R. House was a unique talent in high school. He would play football in West Virginia high school, and then he would go to high school in Florida and play baseball, which I don't even know if you could do that here in Western Pennsylvania, but you could do it in West Virginia. And I go to watch him in the state playoff championship game. And J.R. House threw 13 touchdowns in the game. Now, only 12 was for his team. The first play of the game, he threw an interception the other way for a touchdown.
We know how you keep records.
Yeah, and it was he was the closest thing that I've seen to Jim Kelly, because I've never seen a kid throw for 12 touchdowns in a game, in any game. That has to be a record, especially in a state playoff game. But he probably was even more impressive playing stand-up defensive end. He was that good.
Really?
It reminded me of Jim Kelly, who was not only a great high school quarterback, but also maybe even a greater high school linebacker. So J.R. House made the move to baseball. Evidently, that was his greatest love. Things didn't work out. I guess he had some injuries with the shoulders or whatever. It didn't work out for him. Tried to go back to football, and he got beat out by a kid from Brashear High School by the name of Richard Marshall.
Wow.
Ended up getting a starting nod over J.R. House. But what a great high school player. Who knows, if he'd have went straight into football out of high school, he might have been an NFL Hall of Famer. But shout out to J.R. House. National state record. 12 touchdown passes in one game. I say 13 because I count that interception going the other way.
You never go to the negative side. That's what we like about you, Smoking Jim Frazier. Never go to the negative side. You don't bring up the race card very often.
And the funny thing is, it has another little local tie now that I think about it. Little half truth, but it's the truth. Is that
which is it?
J.R. House and his quarterback his wide receiver set a record, and Seton LaSalle Conley and his quarterback eventually broke the record. Conley had more catches in one season than J.R. House's receiver by a couple.
Get out.
And ended up, is that his name? Carmen?
Yeah, I had mentioned that.
Yeah.
And that record was broken
Carmen
this year by
Conley.
that young man from Lebanon.
Really?
Yeah.
See,
Yes,
I
it
didn't even
was.
know that.
You
White
missed
kid?
it.
I brought that up.
White kid?
I have no
Yes.
idea. I don't see colors.
I know the kid from Gateway, receiver also. Jackson had a great season, but hey, records are meant to be broken.
Unless they're yours.
Unless they're Joe DiMaggio's.
And that's why the Steeler offense is going to break all NFL records next year.
You've been telling us for 3 years that
If they
do
don't
this.
backstab, I hear they're trying to backstab Martavis Bryant. We need him on the team. They're shopping him
you
around
told the
right
folks on Pittsburgh Sportsline that we needed to trade Martavis Bryant.
now. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
You
back
said,
when he.
Yeah. Back
Oh,
in-
yeah, that. Yeah,
You
I'm
said
saying
you would
now.
have traded him then.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So what? He proved he could play for one season. That doesn't mean he's rehabilitated.
Well, we need.
It's an ongoing process.
Ben needs all the weapons right now. And
He
he's a
got
weapon.
plenty of weapons.
Never enough.
He got enough.
Nobody 6'5" that can run like that.
It doesn't matter. He's inconsistent.
It's just part of the 15 seconds.
I don't know. Devin, how are we looking? Are we switching the... Okay. Thanks, folks. Just a little talk here.
Truths.
Well, thank you, everybody. And just wanted to bring everybody up to my last edition of Black History Month, because...
We only got 1 day left in the month.
1 day left in the month. And last week we talked about what we've been talking about this month is we've been talking about the African-American players that played in the Negro Leagues and that have also made it into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. And I've outlined a number of those players like Cool
Papa Bell.
Cool Papa Bell, Oscar Charleston, and now to get three of the more famous ones. These are the names that people will recognize more than anybody else. And the first one would be Mr. Satchel Paige. Satchel Paige was probably the greatest pitcher in the Negro Leagues. He was born Leroy Robert Satchel Paige. Now, there's one thing that has never been confirmed, what his actual birth date was, but it's listed here as July 7th, 1906. He died on June 8th, 1982. He was an American Negro League Baseball and Major League Baseball pitcher who became a legend in his own lifetime by being known as perhaps the best pitcher in baseball history by his longevity in the game and by attracting record crowds wherever he pitched. Paige was a right-handed pitcher, and at age 42 in 1948, he was the oldest major league rookie while playing for the Cleveland Indians. He played with the St. Louis Browns until age 47 and represented them in an all-star game in 1952 and 1953. Wow. He was the first player who had played in the Negro Leagues to pitch in the World Series in 1948 and was the first electee of the Committee on Negro Baseball Leagues to be inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. Some of his accomplished, he first played for a semi-pro team called the Mobile Tigers in 1924. Mm-hmm. And from 1924 to 1926, he began his professional career in 1926 with the Chattanooga Black Lookouts of the Negro Southern League and became one of the most famous successful players from the Negro Leagues. While his outstanding control as a pitcher first got him noticed, it was his infectious, cocky, enthusiastic personality and his love for the game that made him a star. On town tours across the United States, Paige would sometimes have his infielders sit down behind him and then routinely strike out the side.
Really?
He played his last professional game on June 21st, 1966, for the Peninsula Grays of the Carolina League.
How many kids do you have?
I wouldn't have a clue. Now, the date of birth. While Satchel Paige was playing baseball, many ages and birth dates were reported, ranging from 1900 to 1908. Paige himself was the source of many of these dates. His actual birth date, July 7th, 1906, was determined in 1948 when Cleveland Indians owner Bill Veeck traveled to Mobile, Alabama, and accompanied Paige's family to the county health department to obtain his official birth certificate.
Wow.
Paige's birth certificate is displayed in his autobiography. So,
along with President Obama's.
No, his wasn't there.
He led quite a colorful life. Played in every facet of baseball that there was. And the one thing about him was he was probably one of the best pitchers that ever played the game. And certainly he took great joy in making batters look silly. And he did a lot to promote the game of baseball and also helped to break the color barriers in the sport as well. Now,
one interruption. Crosby scores. Pens are winning 1-0.
Good job.
I was worried about that game tonight.
So next we want to talk about is the two players that actually were responsible for breaking the color barrier in Major League Baseball. And the one is the great Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson's greatness was such that every Major League Baseball team has retired his number 42 jersey forever. Nobody will ever wear that jersey again. The last player to wear number 42 in the major leagues retired, I believe, 2 or 3 years ago, Mariano Rivera, because he had that number as his uniform number. Once he became a major leaguer, the major leagues did not determine to retire Jackie Robinson's number till after, so he was given the grace period of being able to wear that number until he retired. So Jackie Robinson was born January 31st, 1919. He died October 24th, 1972. He was an American professional baseball second baseman who became the first African American to play in the major leagues in the modern era. Robinson broke the color barrier when the Brooklyn Dodgers started him at first base on April 15th, 1947. When the Dodgers signed Robinson, they heralded the end of racial segregation in professional baseball that had been regulated to black players to the Negro Leagues since the 1880s. Robinson was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1962. He had an exceptional 10-year Major League Baseball career. He was a recipient of the inaugural Major League Baseball Rookie of the Year award in 1947, was an All-Star for 6 consecutive seasons from 1949 to 1954, won the National League Most Valuable Player Award in 1949.
I didn't know that.
The first black player so honored. Robinson also played in 6 World Series and contributed to the Dodgers' 1955 World Series championship. In 1997, Major League Baseball universally retired his uniform number across all Major League teams. He was the first pro athlete in any sport to be so honored.
Wow.
I would like to see a second athlete so honored. I would love to see number 21 retired across Major League Baseball.
We already got a black guy number retired. You don't need to.
Well, I mean, Roberto Clemente was a Latin American.
Well, he's black.
Okay, just
Let
so
me
you know.
let me ask you a question. Was that the Brooklyn Dodgers that?
It was the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1955. They moved out west. I believe it was in 1957 or 58.
Now they put him at first base because it was so easy to play, or no?
I have no idea. The manager put the lineup in on the players that he felt gave him the best chance to win. I don't know why the manager did that,
Then he
Jim.
played second base.
I couldn't possibly guess.
Then he played second base because it was easier.
His last Major League appearance was October the 10th, 1956 for the Brooklyn Dodgers. His Major League statistics over 10 years, a .311 batting average, 137 home runs, 734 runs batted in. He was a 6-time All-Star, World Series champion, National League MVP, Major League Baseball Rookie of the Year, National League batting champion in 1949, 2 times National League stolen base winner, and he made the Major League Baseball All-Century team. So quite a list of accomplishments for Jackie Robinson. And believe me, I don't believe any player had to go through more than he had to go through, because even though the color barrier is broken and we broke the segregation of Major League Baseball, racial equality still is yet to be achieved in this country. So, the fact that they let him in to play in the major leagues really didn't end anything. It just it changed the landscape a little bit. And also I'd like to pay tribute to the first player to break the color barrier in the American leagues. Gentleman's name was Larry Doby. Larry Eugene Doby was born December 13th, 1923. He died on June 18th in 2003. He was a professional player, played in the Negro Leagues, Major League Baseball. He was the second black player to break baseball's color barrier, a native of Camden, South Carolina, 3-sport all-state athlete while in high school in Paterson, New Jersey. Doby accepted a basketball scholarship from Long Island University at 17 years of age. He began his professional baseball career with the Newark Eagles as the team's second baseman. He joined the United States Navy during World War II. His military service complete, Doby returned to baseball in 1946, and along with teammate Monty Irving, helped the Eagles win the Negro League World Series. July 1947, 3 months after Jackie Robinson made history at the Brooklyn Dodgers, Doby broke the Major League color barrier in the American League when he signed a contract to play with Bill Veeck's Cleveland Indians.
I didn't know that. Same year.
Same year, 3 months later. A 7-time All-Star center fielder, Doby and teammate Satchel Paige were the first African-American players to play in a World Series championship when the Indians took the crown in 1948. That was also the last time the Indians took the crown.
Wow.
So
really?
He helped the Indians win a franchise 111 games and the American League pennant in 1954. Finished second in the American League Most Valuable Player award voting and was the American League's RBI leader in home run champion. He went on to play for the Chicago White Sox, Detroit Tigers, and the Chunichi Dragons before his retirement as a player in 1962. Some of his career accomplishments have already been listed. He had a career batting average of .283, 253 home runs, 970 runs batted in. As a manager, he had a record of 37-50.
Ain't bad.
I'll take it. He was a 7-time All-Star, World Series champion, 2-time American League home run leader, American RBI leader, 1954. The Cleveland Indians, number 14, retired. He's in the Cleveland Indians Hall of Fame. So that wraps up my tribute to the players that helped to make the game of baseball great, and my tribute to Black History Month. So,
Thank you, Chip Painter.
thank you for your time, everybody.
You
and Jim,
never spoke with a Cleveland Indian mascot. Any problem?
well, that's an issue for another time.
Great job.
We'll fight that battle another time, Jim. Some good stuff there, man. You know, you might want to get your assistant to read it.
There's a couple pictures there, so he'll be all right. Thanks, Chip Painter. Appreciate that. On location, Pittsburgh Sportsline will be on location March 12th, Olive Oil's Pizzeria, 7:30 to 8:30. We're getting some guests. I got to talk to Smoking Jim Frazier about pulling some of his guest list out from his PCTV fans and guests at Point Park College and all those other. He does interviews every week. He's just one of the most prolific men in the media. I'm trying to let him have one or two people come on Pittsburgh Sportsline if possible.
Yes.
Or in the audience. But come see us at Olive Oil's Pizzeria. $5 large, one-topping pizzas, $5 large hoagies. You can't beat the place. Frank Finera is a great owner there.
Hey, you know, I mean, you're going to ask Jim to bring a couple of guests, but I mean, like, how many people on each team is he going to bring?
Chip, that's a great question, and I'm a great negotiator. We will work that out. That'll all be worked out in good time. I can tell you that much. Wait, Skip Atkins, I think he's replying to this. What did Skip say? Jim needs a pizza.
Yes, anchovies.
Get him anchovies on that pizza, Skip. We'll see if he doesn't eat it. Because he's a lot of talk at times. He's an honest man, but you got to watch what he says because it's not always spot on. We're back at Olive Oil's Pizzeria on March 12th. See you there, 7:30 to 8:30. Got the guests trying to line them up, and we'll go from there. On the 19th, we'll be back for our second show at Hollywood Lanes. We have a great group. Smoking Jim's supposed to get a...
Tied up, 1-1.
Jeez. Smoking Jim's supposed to get a team coming in. I can't mention what sport or what they do, but it should be something with flags, but Smoking Jim Frazier. It's always an adventure. That'll be from 7:30 to 8:30, Hollywood Lanes. Come on out to the lanes. There's great bowling there. They got a great stage. The stage we were on is just further back than ever. They got seating, and come on out to see us on the 19th. We'll see you then. That's it for On Location. We'll be back with some Penguin talk. Welcome back. Hope you're eating your Chief. I hope you're having your dessert. And anybody else eating, thanks for watching our show. Appreciate it. Skip Atkins, thanks for watching us. Glad you watch us on Verizon 32 every week, and he tells people about it, so we're proud of that. Maybe we'll get a few more people liking our YouTube video of this show instead of the 6 to 10 people we get each week on that. So we'll try to pump that up some more. But Penguin Talk, I'm a little worried. I heard today in practice, Matt Murray got hit by the puck in the head and is concussed. He'll be out indefinitely. So, what, DeSmith is in goal?
DeSmith is in goal tonight.
Jari's down to the minors because they want him to play some more because
I would be willing to bet because Murray's concussed. Jari's the backup goaltender for tonight because if
No, I think DeSmith is.
DeSmith is starting.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So the backup, you have to have a backup goaltender available to play in case your goaltender
They
gets
had
injured.
said he was down in the minors, though.
We'll have to check on that. We can do some research here.
We'll have to find some research on that. Smoking Jim's concerned about the Penguins. What's your feeling about the Penguins, Smoking Jim?
My feeling is that, you know how much I love Murray, not as much as I love Fleury, but the guy does seem to be
I like
injury
when you
prone.
say both names.
Yeah, does seem to be injury prone. Some guys are just, I mean, what can you do? You know, it could happen to
He's
anybody.
brittle? Are you saying he's
I
like
just
the
think-
Brittle Brothers?
I
Well,
just think he's
you know,
unlucky
No,
with his
you know
injury
what,
so far.
and
Unlucky.
I'm glad you bring that point up because, you know, it's
That's his concern.
The position itself is prone to injuries. Look at how frequently Marc-Andre Fleury was injured. Yeah, Marc-Andre Fleury even missed several months of this season for everything that he's done for the Las Vegas Golden Knights. He was out with concussion after effects, and you know, as you get older, the more concussions you get, the more frequent they seem to happen, and
Hold it,
the
you're
longer it
preaching to
takes you
the
to
choir.
recover.
Smoking Jim's been concussed many times.
But
We understand that.
So let's talk about some
Hello.
of the things that have gone on here.
Hello.
Not only for the Pittsburgh Penguins, but in the NHL in the last 2 days. Yesterday at 3 o'clock was the trade deadline, and quite a number of moves were made. Now, the Penguins made a big move, three-team trade. They got a winger named Derek Brassard from the Ottawa Senators.
Who has visa troubles.
Who had to be traded from Pittsburgh to Las Vegas and from Las Vegas to Pittsburgh. And they're picking up a portion of his salary so that we can fit him under the cap. Now, Derek Brassard is a huge get for the Penguins. He's actually you know, like a second line center, but he's going to be centering the third line. And now you've got three lines that are being centered by Crosby, Malkin, and Brassard. I mean, you know, what the Penguins have done was they gave up a defenseman who was an integral part of their two Stanley Cup champions, in Ian Cole.
Yeah.
And they gave up a defenseman to give for offense. Now, some people could say, geez, they shouldn't have given up the defense, but let's not forget about last year, Pittsburgh Penguins won the Stanley Cup without Chris Letang.
Good point.
Nobody thought that they could win or would have a chance to win the Stanley Cup last year without Letang playing, and lo and behold, they won the Cup. So, you know, the Penguins are sacrificing defense for offense, but the thing that I'm more concerned about is not the Penguins' ability to be one of the top teams in the East, is how much stronger the best team in the East made itself by picking up Ryan McDonough from the New York Rangers.
Tremendous.
So now the Tampa Bay Lightning, who were the number one team in the Eastern Conference, made themselves better. And, you know, I would think that it's going to come down to the Lightning and the Penguins in the Eastern Conference Finals.
7 games.
And I will tell you something. Tampa Bay will give the Penguins everything they can handle and more. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how the season played out. The biggest move the Penguins made, and it was to extend Patrick Hornqvist.
25.
They extended him five years, $26 million. I think it comes down to about $5.3 million per year. But you know,
That's huge.
Patrick Hornqvist is the kind of player that every team needs. He's a guy that doesn't do anything spectacularly other than planting himself in front of the goal and getting cross-checked and everything and finding a way to jam the puck into the
He
net.
gets those dirty goals and that grittiness we talk about. You want to see in hockey. They talk about grittiness. He loves to give the...
One of the players the Penguins tried to get back from the Minnesota Wild was Matt Cullen, who was their third-line center last year.
That would have been nice.
And one of the things that Matt Cullen said about Patrick Hornqvist, he said he is absolutely the most intense player I have ever played with in my career. Matt Cullen's 40 years old.
Yeah.
He's been playing the game 25 years. For him to make that kind of comment about Patrick Hornqvist, I didn't know if the Penguins were going to be able to find a way to fit him under the cap, but apparently they've done it. He's locked up for 5 more years. I think that was even a bigger move than picking up Derek Brassard, was locking him up not just for this year, because he would have been a free agent in July, but now we've got him for 5 years. That force that you need down low in front of the net
We'll be there.
will be there.
No, that's a great point, Chip. But
Good job.
the team's just coming together. Just they're looking good. They're in first place again. So they've, from December to the switch went on in January, they turned it on. It's amazing what they've been able to do.
You know, and I was talking about the Penguins' biggest concerns probably going to be the Tampa Bay Lightning. Well, you know, we've got in our division, we've got the Washington Capitals. And ever since Sidney Crosby came into the NHL, there's always been who's the better hockey player. Ovechkin, Crosby, Ovechkin, Crosby.
I like them both.
Now, Ovechkin, got to give him his props. He is a very good individual player. Alex Ovechkin does not make the players on his team better by his presence. Sid Crosby does. I mean, Sid Crosby makes everybody raise the level of their game by his work ethic and everything. And you know, I think one of Ovechkin's biggest flaws is the fact that he's a stat guy. He's more worried about his statistics and his performance, not so much the team's. And so subsequently, in every situation, the Penguins end up beating the Capitals.
That's why Smoking Jim likes him and Big Ben. They're stat men.
Well, do you think that Crosby is the best at making everybody around him better, is the best since Wayne Gretzky? Gretzky used to do the same thing.
And I'm glad you bring this point up because, here's the thing. Wayne Gretzky was one of the greatest players to ever play the game. Okay, Gordie Howe, one of the greatest players that ever played the game. They played in different eras, and it's really hard to compare players from different eras. Now, when Wayne Gretzky was in his prime and Mario Lemieux was young, then the NHL was a different game. Games where you scored 12 or 13 goals in a game, not per team, but combined, was the norm. Players scoring 200 points in a season is the norm. Now, for a player to end up with 50 goals and 50 assists in a season, that's a huge accomplishment. As a matter of fact, Evgeny Malkin right now, if he continues on the pace that he's on, will get 50 goals by the end of the season. It's a huge accomplishment.
And he's second in the league in scoring, right?
I believe he is. And, so that's a huge accomplishment to do that. But I can tell you what Ovechkin would trade. He'd trade all of his scoring titles for just one of those Stanley Cups. And Evgeny's got 3 of them, So, and the next thing, we just finished the Olympics last week. Now, how is it that the Russian athletes were barred from playing in the Olympics?
Drugs.
For doping, yet somehow the Olympic athletes from Russia, OAR, got to play in the Olympics and actually won the gold medal in hockey. And you want to know how the Russian team won the gold medal in hockey? They didn't have Alex Ovechkin playing for them this year.
I know what I had to ask you, white guys. Since we got a couple white guys here, and since there's a white man,
Smoking Jim, I just want to notify your fans that it took almost 55 minutes to bring the race card out. A new record.
Do me a favor. Don't tell my wife I'm white.
Okay.
A new record.
If Devin Shea can chime in on this.
This is a new Pittsburgh Sportsline record.
I need some experts, and you white guys are experts at it. Why do you need steroids for curling? Did you hear about the Russian guy get suspended for being just sweeping the ice? You need the steroids for that? Tell me, come on.
Did you
Some
see,
of your best friends are on the steroids.
Here's it now, because I've become unnaturally drawn to curling. Okay, I DVR'd every match. Okay. But what you have to do is you have to sweep like a nobody's business.
Okay.
You go back and forth and back and forth.
It's hard.
And want to hear something even funny? You know who Jared Allen is, right?
Who?
Jared Allen?
Yeah.
The defensive lineman for the Vikings?
Yeah, great guy.
He is going to try out for the 2022 curling team, U.S. curling team.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Because of you, Smoking Jim.
He got the enthusiasm for it.
He can do it.
It amazes me, but nothing surprises me anymore.
Well,
I mean, you got to juice to to get those stones going at just the right speed, right? See?
Well, how can Smoking Jim, folks, even ask this question when he has a philosophy? If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
That's true.
That's my man. I think I quoted him directly. If
think
you ain't cheating,
I didn't think you
you ain't
needed to
trying.
choose that. I didn't
You
think
ain't
needed-
trying.
That's true.
So you know what?
See, the end of argument.
So the Penguins got themselves positioned very well, and I think they definitely are going to have a stronger team today than they did last week going into their playoff run.
Three-peat. Let me repeat that. I said at the beginning of the season, three-peat coming up.
Well, and I tell you what.
It's going to be hard.
Whoever's going to win the Cup this year is going to come out of the Eastern Conference, and it may not be the Penguins.
Does anybody? We got a couple of minutes left. Does anybody want me to break down the Aliquippa situation?
Please do. How can a coach with the pedigree of Mike Zimanchik end up getting terminated from his job?
I'll call him Mike Z. Well, first of all, he didn't get fired. They didn't renew his contract. His contract's up in June. According to Mike Z, Coach Z, he's 74 years old, but I think he got a little Satchel Paige in him because his birth certificate may say a little older. What do you want to do, Coach? Say he's 75 years old. What do you want him to? Because he already had 10 in. But here's the reason why he got fired, even though Aliquippa will be great no matter
Don't
who's
change that
here.
dial.
I
Listen to
said,
this.
Alan, before the show, I said, you could coach Alan
Yeah.
with the team next year and take him to Heinz Field.
Coach Yanessa built that program for you, went to Baldwin and took all your money. But Aliquippa, the reason that he got fired wasn't because they wasn't successful, wasn't anything, that wasn't because of his age, wasn't because Terrell Pryor beat him in championships. He went to 10 straight championships. He lost his job. They didn't renew his contract because I predicted before the WPIL championship game that Quaker Valley was going to beat Aliquippa. Quaker Valley went on to win the state championship. History is going to show that Quaker Valley was the better team, but Quaker Valley had a reputation for 70 years to be a bunch of cream puff kids from Sewickley, and there's no way that they should have been able to beat Aliquippa for the residents of Aliquippa. And because he got beat by what they feel is an inferior team, and in 10 years from now, the history will say, because Quaker Valley's going to be a dynasty from here on out because of their great feeder system. That's the reason why his contract wasn't renewed. They was embarrassed by the whooping
I personally
that
think
Quaker Valley put on them.
that-
2-0.
Unbelievable from Smoking Jim Frazier. Just the facts, folks.
I humbly believe that it's personal bias and somebody settling a score with them because they don't simply like them. And I find it very questionable with some of the newer members of the school board were the ones that pushed so hard to get him out. And I wonder what their agenda was. Who did they think is going to be a better fit to take his position? And like you were mentioning, Aliquippa has a very stacked team going into next year. And it's not going to take much of a football coach to put them back at Heinz Field next year.
Who will be the new coach?
Well, my good friend's been a long-time offensive coordinator, Sherman McBride. He was next in line, but like Chip said, he's hearing about Sean Gilbert all of a sudden, who wanted to be the union president last year in the NFL. Now he wants to be the head coach of Aliquippa. So
He's
maybe
looking
might
for
get
a
it.
job.
I guess he was looking for
He's looking for a job.
He'll get the black vote in Aliquippa.
And if
Thanks,
he's looking
Smoking
for,
Jim.
And if he's looking for a payday, Aliquippa's not the place to go.
Well, nobody explained that to him, but Smoking Jim with his insights, they're always welcome on Pittsburgh Sportsline. Whether I agree or disagree, we'll save that for a later date. Thanks for watching our show. We appreciate all of you on Comcast 7, Verizon 32, everywhere in the area. Thanks, Dave Cable. Thanks, Devin Shea. And thanks, Bethel Park Community. Stay Joey strong.